Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and welcome to NYSE TV Live. I'm Kristen Schuller here at the New York Stock Exchange. We are awaiting the stock market open after equities trade was closed Monday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. January 20th, yesterday, was also now President Donald Trump's inauguration in a cold but sunny Washington, D.C. We'll be talking about the path forward amid the new administration throughout the show. The World Economic Forum is also underway in Davos, Switzerland, and throughout this week, we'll be bringing you coverage of the announcements coming out of this year's global gathering. Here's what's on tap in today's show. Well, after President Trump was sworn in yesterday, USA Today reporter Francesca Chambers will join me to recap the big moments, including what is ahead. And Venu, an entertainment and hospitality company, is preparing to ring the opening bell. Its president will join my colleague Trinity Chavez on the floor. And speaking of Venu, it gets sweeter. That's because singer-songwriter Haley Reinhart is in the house to celebrate Venu's bell. And Trinity will speak to Haley on the trading floor before a special performance. All right, well, let's talk the inauguration because stocks are set to rise at the open this morning after President Donald Trump is having his first full day in office for a second term. And of course, after promising no universal tariffs yet yesterday amid a wave of executive orders. Joining me now with more is Francesca Chambers, White House correspondent for USA Today. Francesca, great to have you on the show. And as we await this market open, what is your takeaway from yesterday's inauguration?
Well, as you said, no universal tariffs yet. He also previewed those 25% tariffs that he had said earlier in the transition that he could put on both Canada and Mexico. He said that he would do that prospectively on February 1st. So giving a little bit of time there for both countries before he enacts those 25% tariffs that he now says he's looking to put in.
In terms of what this means going forward, Francesca, what should our viewers be prepared for?
Well, it's a question of whether it's a negotiating strategy or something that he actually plans to do. Now, it is, again, one of several times that he said that he'll pursue tariffs as part of his trade strategy. But as we know, what he is upset about is immigration. He's also upset about fentanyl. And so it's a bargaining chip in many ways for his administration to try and get both nations to take actions on those items. He signed a deluge of executive orders on his first day, some of them directed at immigration.
So let's walk through those executive orders and what the president did do yesterday, his first day in office for his second term, Francesca.
I think one of the things that your audience is probably interested in is the TikTok executive order that he signed, giving a 75-day extension for the company to try and come to an arrangement that suits the federal government. Now, what he means by the United States having a 50% stake in TikTok is still unknown. And he even said during his press conference in the Oval Office that he's not sure that that is something that China would go for or that ByteDance would go for. How exactly that would work, we don't yet have the details of. He unveiled that less than 48 hours ago at a rally at Capital One Arena.
And in terms of his cabinet, we did see Marco Rubio confirmed as Secretary of State yesterday. What do we anticipate from the rest of his cabinet picks in terms of their own confirmations?
Today on the docket is Elise Stefanik, who is his pick for United Nations ambassador, and he has had several of his other nominees, including Pete Hegseth, who he's picked to lead the Department of Defense, make it through committee votes as well as committee hearings, but they also have to get approved by the full United States Senate. Marco Rubio was approved 99-0 yesterday. I wouldn't expect that for Trump's other cabinet nominees. Marco Rubio is a former senator. He resigned to take the position of Secretary of State. And he is someone who served on both the Intelligence Committee and the Foreign Relations Committee. As far as senators, including Democrats, are concerned, he was an establishment pick, very qualified. They have questions about some of Trump's other nominees for the cabinet.
Of course, we know that Davos is underway in Switzerland as we speak, dubbed typically as a gathering of the global elitist. We did see at the end of last week the World Economic Forum announcing that President Trump will be joining the meeting virtually. What does that signify?
Well, business will be on the top of his mind. And it is certainly something that we've seen throughout the transition as he has met with various individuals during the transition at Mar a Lago. He said that he's spoken repeatedly to Tim Cook of Apple. We saw at the inauguration ceremony yesterday that Mark Zuckerberg was one of the tech moguls there. Elon Musk has had a close relationship with Donald Trump during the transition and will lead his Department of Government Efficiency. And we saw during the first Trump administration as well that Trump worked with business and had those leaders over to the White House from time to time. And so we would expect to see that continue in the second Trump term.
Even though the president said that he wasn't ready for universal tariffs yet, we did see him say that tariffs are on the way for Canada and Mexico. Is that a negotiating tactic, Francesca, or do you anticipate that those, based on the president's rhetoric, really will come to fruition?
Well, it's unclear what he'll end up doing because one of the executive orders that he signed directed his administration to take a look at tariffs and trade practices, not just for Canada and Mexico, but also for China and other countries that he said had a fentanyl problem with fentanyl coming into the United States. So he's looking at a range of things. What he ultimately ends up doing, we just don't know yet.
Rubio, I mentioned earlier, confirmed as Secretary of State, America's top diplomat and the first Latino in the job. What do you think Marco Rubio is going to bring to the table in this administration, Trump's second term?
Well, in addition to the experience that he brings as United States Senator, having been in the Senate for 14 years, and also as someone who ran for president himself, remember, against Donald Trump in the 2016 Republican presidential primary, he is someone who has a lot of experience in Latin America, and Trump advisors believe that that will be useful in the administration. There's been a lot of focus on the wars that are taking place between Russia and Ukraine, as well as what's taking place in the Middle East. But he is someone who will also be focused on China. He's seen as a China hardliner, and he'll also be focused on Latin America.
To that end, Francesca, we did hear early on yesterday during the full day of events that Trump again pledged to take back the Panama Canal, and part of that had to do with China. What's at play there?
Well, Trump is concerned about the potential for Chinese influence in the canal. Now, he has said that China controls the canal. Even Marco Rubio testified at his hearing that China does not control the canal, but it's about the influence potentially of Chinese shipping companies that they're really concerned about when it comes to that. Now, how he would retake the canal is not yet clear, but at his confirmation hearing, Marco Rubio suggested that one way they could go about this is by trying to say that the treaty by which the United States gave the canal to Panama is in violation, and try and go about it that way. But it's certainly a legal issue that the administration says would have to be looked at.
What is next for former President Joe Biden and his wife Jill Biden, who we saw officially depart yesterday?
He's on vacation in California right now. Usually presidents, after they leave office, they set up a presidential library. Joe Biden hasn't said yet where he plans to set that up. Well, what was unique about yesterday is that Vice President Kamala Harris also went to California after she left office. So both the president and the vice president left for California immediately after that inauguration ceremony.
A warm vacation sounds nice on what is a bitterly cold day here in New York, and I know throughout the country, especially the Midwest as well. Francesca Chambers, thank you so much for getting up early with us and joining us on NYSE TV Live. Francesca is a White House correspondent for USA Today. Okay, well, stay with us because we have a huge show on tap. And up next, my colleague Trinity Chavez will be joined by a reporter from CoinDesk to talk all about the future of cryptocurrency under this new administration. That's next.
So Brightwave is an investment research platform that uses artificial intelligence to help asset managers understand more about the markets than is humanly possible.
And what would you say that makes you unique, though, from others who are currently on the market?
A number of things. So we have an incredible engineering team. So for myself, I established and led the language model engineering practice at Databricks. Created the first language model to demonstrate that open source technologies could exhibit the kinds of behaviors we've come to expect from ChatGPT. My co-founder is the former CTO of a federally regulated derivatives exchange and clearinghouse. It is.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
And his first deep learning patent was filed in 2018. We've got engineers from Meta and Instagram, award-winning research engineers, commercial team from UBS and McKinsey and Goldman Sachs. It's a stacked bench,
yes.
And it has allowed us to execute on very, very difficult technical problems. If you think about the number of factors that are relevant to an investment decision, it exceeds the limits of a person's ability to keep it in mind simultaneously. And we see an opportunity with language models to create a technology that allows a person to connect the dots across millions of documents and see a story that nobody else has noticed in order to identify a mispriced asset.
And you decided to come to Money 2020 this year because you had a major announcement about your Series A funding.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have announced a $15 million Series A, preempted by Decibel Partners, one of our seed stage investors, and including participation from Omers Ventures. We're extremely excited about this. This brings our total funding in the past 17 months to $21 million. We've quadrupled our revenue since our Series Seed announcement in June or July, forget exactly when. And it's happened quickly. We've seen vigorous traction, brisk demand from across financial services.
Good morning and welcome back to NYSE TV Live, everyone. I'm Kristen Schuller here in studio. Well, as President Trump begins his second day in office for his second term, the cryptocurrency world is preparing for changes. And my colleague Trinity Chavez has more on this story. Trinity, good morning.
Hey, Kristen. Good morning. That's right. With Trump's administration officially stepping in, the crypto industry is buzzing with anticipation. Now, could this be a signal for more favorable regulatory environments for digital assets? Here to break it all down is Nick Day. He is managing editor for global policy and regulation at CoinDesk. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
So, we just said it in the lead-in. The new administration officially taking shape. President Trump is now our president. What do we see happening in the cryptocurrency space, especially as we have Mark Ueda and Carolyn Pham holding key roles?
Yeah, the crypto industry really wanted Trump to win. Especially after the last 4 years, they've perceived former President Biden and his administration as being kind of really enforcement heavy in the crypto industry without really providing guidance. The hope is that now with Carolyn Pham and Mark Ueda, we'll have a kind of a shift in the enforcement posture. We won't see, the SEC or the CFTC bring enforcement actions just for, not registering as a securities exchange, for example. And eventually the hope is that the administration and or Congress will create some kind of more firm guidance or clarity for how a cryptocurrency is defined as a security, as a commodity, how it can be traded and regulated, how, consumers can handle them, how companies can handle all these.
What do you think the timeline for all this is? I mean, it has been a key priority for President Trump leading up to his election. When do you think we can actually see these regulatory shifts?
On the congressional front, it's hard to say. There's a lot of other priorities. I think we have a budget fight coming up in like 2 months. So Congress might take a while, but the administration itself, and especially the SEC and CFTC, can get started pretty quickly. There's this controversial, accounting standard called SAB 121 that Mark Ueda is on record as being against. That is something the SEC can probably revoke without a lot of difficulty. Even before Trump's pick for the permanent chair for the agency, Paul Atkins, is confirmed. That's kind of a quick, easy thing that they can do that will really please the crypto industry and the broader financial world that wants to get more involved in crypto. The CFTC I think wants to be kind of seen as the primary market regulator for crypto. I think that might be a bit longer, but it's still something that they could start putting out rulemakings and guidance on in the coming months as a permanent chair is nominated and confirmed, and as these agencies get more into it.
What specific bills are you anticipating that will be passed?
So the easy one, I think, is the FIT 21 bill, the Financial Innovation and Technology Act for the 21st century. This is a bill, spearheaded by former Congressman Patrick McHenry. It's a market structure bill. It would give the CFTC some more explicit authority. It would give the SEC a kind of more defined authority. That is something that was passed out of the House already, so the House could do it again. The Senate this time might be more willing to pass it as well. There's also a lot of interest in a stablecoin bill addressing, any cryptocurrency pegged to the U.S. dollar. That's been something that, Congresswoman Maxine Waters and McHenry had been working on for years. And, now with French Hill taking over as the chair of the Financial Services Committee, I think that's something we'll see, renewed attention on.
Now, we've seen a lot of traction in the meme coin market, especially over the weekend. Talk to me about where you see this broader market heading with the new administration.
Honestly, that's really hard to say. Meme coins have always been kind of a thing. Doge is, the most famous meme coin, I think, and that's now the name of a government agency. So I think the fact that now, President Trump and the First Lady have issued or, inspired meme coins. The pastor who gave a sermon yesterday at the inauguration has his own meme coin now. Clearly, there's going to be a lot of attention on this now. I really don't know where it's going to go from here. These things are, I think, a bit more volatile than, for example, Bitcoin. So that's also definitely one area where I think investors probably want to be a little bit careful, especially as we've seen over the weekend. This thing went from, $0 to $50-something to $75 to $37. So that'll be interesting.
I do want to go back to our conversation regarding policy and the regulatory front. Where do you think investors want to see the most shift right now?
Honestly, just kind of the idea of where the CFTC and the SEC stand with regard to crypto exchanges. Over the last couple of years in the last administration, we saw a number of enforcement actions against exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance. And these are ones where they say that just the fact that these exchanges are listing certain tokens runs afoul of securities law. The fact that we might see a shift in this, I don't think the lawsuits will be withdrawn, but we'll see a shift, I think, in the how these agencies bring these actions. It'll help investors because now they don't run the risk of buying something on an exchange and then suddenly that exchange gets sued. Or, for example, Ripple and XRP, not going to get sued as much.
And how do you think these shifts here in the U.S. will affect the global cryptocurrency market?
There's always been kind of this idea that a lot of the capital for the crypto markets kind of originates in the U.S. A lot of companies want to do business here just because the markets are a bit more mature. The traditional financial markets are a bit more mature. So crypto companies want to raise capital here. They want to, headquarter themselves here. Over the last couple of years, we've seen this, idea. Some companies have said, we're going to leave the U.S. because it's not friendly. That, I think, is going to change. It's going to end. Companies will come back here and say, all right, we're going to, set up business or set up our offices here, and we're going to issue tokens and list and trade them. And if you're an investor, you can, do whatever you want here. We will support it. What
else should be on investors' minds as we lead into 2025 with this new administration?
I think there definitely will be a lot of volatility. That's the one thing that I think has been kind of constant over the last couple of years is every time something happens, whether that's COVID, whether that's, wars, for example, markets get a little bit weird. When inflation hits, they get a little bit more volatile. So all these companies are, and I think a big chunk of the crypto industry is expecting everything to go up right now. And it probably will during, short-term periods and at times, but there will also be, I think, a lot of volatility. There will be a lot of price actions where if you're day trading or if you're not careful, you do run the risk of losing your bags.
A lot of important takeaways right there. Thank you so much again. That is Nick Day, Managing Editor for Global Policy and Regulation for CoinDesk. Now we have a lot more to get to, so make sure to stay tuned right after this break.
So, Colleen, you joined Planet Fitness as CEO in June. So tell me about your first 6 months.
It's been a very fast first 6 months. I really leaned into spending time in our clubs and getting to know our franchisees, talking with our club team members, and seeing how our members utilize our clubs. I call it feet on the street. It's been really insightful. And we've also worked on our strategic imperatives and kind of codified our roadmap for our growth ambition.
So tell me about your growth strategy and vision for the future of Planet Fitness.
Our 4 strategic imperatives really start with refining our brand promise and then making sure we pull that through in our marketing messaging. We're also leaning into member experience to make sure that we're connecting with our membership and enhancing our relationship with our members and delivering a format both inside and outside the clubs that's most meaningful for them and is going to enable them to accomplish their fitness goals. And then we lean in on format optimization and our equipment mix. And that's making sure that we've got the right mix of equipment for how our members want to utilize our clubs today. And when we get all of that right, and we're thoughtful about unit economics and build cost for our franchisees, it enables us to turn up the afterburners on growth.
Now, how will you redefine your brand strategy and communicate it effectively?
We're growing stronger together, and we're all strong on this planet. We're seeing across generational cohorts a focus on utilization of strength in our members' workout routines and our prospective member workout routines. So as we've done consumer testing and consumer surveys, as well as how we've seen our members utilizing our clubs, we've recognized the opportunity to kind of shift our mix a bit and have a greater complement of strength in our clubs.
Welcome back to NYSE TV Live, everyone. I'm Kristen Scholler here in the studio at the Stock Exchange. Well, our Judy Shaw recently sat down with HyperCard to hear how that software company is trying to optimize the payment process. This product is built on NYSE-listed American Express's legacy system. Let's take a look.
Mark, Will, welcome to Floor Talk. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
My pleasure. So now, Mark, I want to start with you. Let's talk about HyperCard. What problem are you solving and how?
When we think about expense management at large corporations, what we notice is that a large part of the experience is a very manual process, and it's largely stuck in the 90s. Submitting expense reports, reviewing expense reports for back office. Finance has to work very hard to operate this manual experience. And so what we did was we created a modern set of tools, a modern card product in the American Express network, really wonderful expense management technology that automates a lot of these processes that are manual today. We do that largely by leveraging world-class AI that we created with our lead investor, Sam Altman, and a handful of other wonderful investors who have joined us in our crusade. And the way the technology works is it expedites the expense submission time on all of our cards and all of our technology by up to 90%. We catch up to 85% of out-of-policy expense reports before they're submitted to Concur or Workday Expense and a handful of other expense solutions. We do this all while offering your company stipends, your allowances, and your company benefits across all of our card products. So a modern technology that actually lives on top of legacy software like Concur, like Workday Expense. That's the best part. There's no change management to take advantage of our card solution and to take advantage of our expense technology. It all lives on top of your existing financial infrastructure today.
Tell me about American Express's involvement with HyperCard.
We've been working with Mark and the guys for a couple of years now, and when we're looking for a network partner, we're looking for someone who's really customer focused. And you know, as Mark outlined, they had a number of things which were really interesting. One of them, the ones which we really liked, was this unlocking of company value, which many employees aren't accessing, and making that available to their employees and their customers. And we like that a lot, and it really married what we do with merchants as we unlock value and we bring that to customers. So we felt there was a real symbiotic relationship.
Mark, how did you land American Express as a network for your card?
We love American Express, and there's a little bit of lore to our love for American Express. It starts with like Diners Club, sign your way around the world. It was the first card product that kind of started off with this membership credit card experience. Amex took that model, this sense of membership, and really modernized it.
On every American Express card, there is one word we take very seriously: member.
every card says member since X year. Everyone is so proud to have an Amex card. When we came to the network team, they really liked our thesis around membership, bringing our membership thesis around our card products for employers. And we ended up partnering up with the network, and we're very fortunate to have been able to do that. And so our cards are issued by Celtic Bank, but they're in the Amex network, and we're able to bring a lot of value, just like Amex does, to their cardholders, but we can do that for companies.
And Will, tell me, what is American Express's overarching strategy when it comes to partnering with fintechs like HyperCard?
You know, we developed our APP, Agile Partner Platform, specifically to try and build an innovation hub. So fintech startups like HyperCard and Mark could easily plug and play onto the platform. And our intention was to kind of bring away, and Mark's really articulated well, to bring the best of Amex, the brand, our assets, our expertise, into a fintech. And what we get out of that is we access customers we're not normally going to get to. And we live and we learn along the way. So it's a really great partnership.
All right. Well, Mark, Will, it's been wonderful to talk with you both. Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Judy.
All right, thanks to Judy Shaw for that interview. And do stay with us, because up next, we'll hear more about this morning's bell ringer, Venu Holdings. You see the signage behind me? We'll be right back. How has this partnership propelled Snowflake's growth and deepened its ties to the broader financial and technology communities?
Well, you know this. The New York Stock Exchange is the most storied stock exchange ever on the planet, and we're thrilled and honored to be on it. But there's also a very deep collaboration between the firms. It's at the level of us being the data platform for ICE and for the New York Stock Exchange, and being an important distribution mechanism for all of the amazing data that the NYSE wants to share with its customers and partners. We get a lot of great feedback about where Snowflake should evolve from Lynn and her team. And things like the tree lighting and the judging or the icing on the cake that demonstrate how closely the companies work with each other to partner, but just as importantly, create success for all of our giant customers. It's a deep partnership that I'm very, very grateful for. I tell people that AI is already magical because these language models can do things like understand fluid language, like the language you and I are speaking, and make sense of it, extract context from it, and do that effortlessly. We knew that how people are going to consume information was going to be changed forever. Just like, back when the first smartphones came, most people in the world kind of simultaneously realized that there was a before and an after, that everybody was going to have these amazing devices with them. I think we're going to think about AI the same.
Good morning and welcome back to NYSE TV Live. I'm Kristen Schiller here in studio at the Stock Exchange. Well, this morning, entertainment and hospitality company Venu Holdings is set to ring the opening bell. And my colleague, Trinity Chavez, has more on this story. Trinity.
Hey, Kristen, that's right. Today we are celebrating Venu Holding Corporation, ticker symbol VENU, as they ring the opening bell to mark their IPO from November 27th, 2024. And now this is a company that's really shaking up the live entertainment scene with venues in places like Colorado Springs and Gainesville, plus $1.3 billion in construction is also underway across the United States. Now, CEO J.W. Roth and CFO Heather Atkins are here to honor the big day. They are going to be up there on that bell podium in just a couple minutes alongside members of their team to open up the U.S. equity markets. In fact, you might hear a little bit of the cheers behind me as I am getting ready to head down to the trading floor, where I'm going to be speaking with them alongside some other special guests and attendees that we'll be speaking with later on the floor. Kristen?
Trinity, I'm so looking forward to that interview. We'll give it a deep tease. We said it at the start of the show. Haley Reinhart, singer-songwriter, is going to join Trinity on the floor after that opening bell.
Yep.
Ahead of a special performance. Trinity, we're much looking forward to that. And now we do see Venu on that bell podium getting ready to open the equity markets in President Trump's first full day in his second term. Floor and podium to celebrate the opening bell. Venu Holdings, again, an entertainment and hospitality company, kicking off the trading day. And Haley Reinhart, singer-songwriter, is going to join Trinity Chavez, as well as the president of Venu, on the floor just a little bit later in the show. So you definitely want to stick with us for that. All right, well, as these cheers are underway, investors are also cheering the market today. Comes after stocks were closed yesterday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day and after President Trump was inaugurated for a second time, his second term in office on Monday. Joining me now to talk more about these fractional gains at the open is Joy Yang, head of product management and marketing at Market Vector Indexes. Joy, welcome.
Thank you, Kristen.
It's great to have you on the show, and certainly a lot more has transpired since we last connected here in this very setting with the inauguration behind us and President Trump now in the Oval Office. How does that set up what may be to come for stocks?
Yeah, so we have a new president, and he's already busy signing executive orders already. So we know he's here on an agenda to disrupt, and also he's going to communicate in real time on social media. So we expect that the new norm for 2025 will be volatility and a lot of uncertainty. So I think investors should really kind of expect to have like a really volatile ride, but in order to kind of look at the opportunities in this space, you really have to be informed. Mm-hmm. So we are like really monitoring top themes around the 2025.
Now, are you recommending, Joy, in this volatile environment that you anticipate? Many guests have said on our show they anticipate volatility too, that investors should buy and hold and stick to a long-term strategy, or are you recommending active management in this case?
Well, volatility is always good for trading, but you have to be informed.
Yes.
And volatility also means you have to have the stomach and the conviction to stay in the game. So again, you have to be informed.
Yes.
You know, so just really look at targeted signals or themes, and that will help you understand whether or not you have the confidence that you're in the right exposures, or you know when to trade in and out of particular themes.
Of course, it is a dynamic scenario, and we'll see all of the changes, perhaps disruption, if you will, that will come about in the wake of this new administration. In terms of following the news, staying abreast, if you are in the case of active management, is the president's Twitter account the best way to go about this?
No, I think, you know, aside from looking at all information, really focus on some of the key themes, and focus on the things that we already know about. So we know that he's already talked about pro-American policies. So what does that mean? Look at industries that are focused on pro-American policies, and we have an agricultural index, and again, he's elected Brooke Collins. She's very pro-American, CEO of American First Policy Institute. So we know there will be policies and subsidies in the farming industry. Look at oil. He's already out there talking today about drill baby drill and making America the U.S. manufacturing oil capital of the world. So we've already seen oil companies go up because we expect to be a lot of movement and a lot of pro-American policies in this space for energy. Other areas are going to be Bitcoin. He's talked about making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world, of the planet.
Yes.
But also thinking about U.S. Crypto reserves. So that's going to be pro-crypto in the sense that you're bringing legitimacy, but also, you know, when you bring legitimacy, you're bringing regulation, transparency into this space. And we know that, you know, there'll be, that will open up investors, a broad range of investors into this space also.
And we saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high on Inauguration Day. Of course, different parameters for now in trading cryptocurrency than the stock market, open for 24/7 trade. That's the current price, just under $105,000 a token on Inauguration Day. Did reach a record of $109,000 a token. Quickly, Joy, on tariffs, before I have to let you go, it does seem that stocks are rising on the back of the president saying no universal tariffs yet. Your quick take.
Yeah, so I think that's still going to be, there's still a lot of uncertainty around tariffs, and then what will happen once we do have more transparency, how will other countries, you know, react to these tariffs. But, you know, he's been very vocal, and we've seen kind of the prices all over the place. And, you know, you look at an industry like semiconductors, which is very complex, very globally integrated, and we're seeing price movement, and they've been positive as well as negative, but mostly they've been volatile.
Yes, indeed. Joy Yang, Head of Product Management and Marketing at Market Vector Indexes. Joy, always a pleasure, and thanks for joining me on this very cold New York City day. All right, well, stay with us because up next we'll learn more about an American supply chain company tapping into artificial intelligence. My colleague Trinity Chavez will have the latest.
Orbit is a space logistic company. Actually, we have been the first space logistic company in the world, a pioneer. What does it mean? Space logistics for us means taking care of customer assets in space, so satellites.
But what you're describing, it can't be easy. So talk to me more about how you go about optimizing in-orbit services while also reducing costs for your clients.
You can consider the launch vehicle, the rocket, as a bus, leaving each passenger at the terminus. Our satellite, our orbital transfer vehicle, that's the technical name, is released at the terminus together with other passenger. But our satellite has on board third-party passengers, small satellites on behalf of other companies. And if the rocket is a bus, we are Uber, taking each passenger to their respective home, which is the target orbit. They could do that on their own, which with traditional methods takes 6 to 10 months, thus wasting 1/3 on 1/4 of their operational life. We can do that in much lower time. So the result for the end user is getting to revenues earlier and extending the operational life of their asset.
There has been increasing demand when it comes to the utilization of space-based technologies. Talk to me about how D-Orbit is positioning itself from a business standpoint to keep up with the growing demand.
Besides the traditional standard services, we now see a big demand for something new, which is cloud computing in orbit. The quick, immediate need of
Welcome back to NYSE TV Live. I'm Trinity Chavez in studio above the trading floor. Now this week on a special edition of Taking Stock with SiliconANGLE's theCUBE, I sat down with the CEO of Blue Yonder, a $9 billion digital supply chain company. We talked about tackling global supply chain challenges as well as the innovations that are shaking up the industry. Take a look.
We're the largest supply chain software company, digital fulfillment company in the world. So we support everything from predicting demand, flowing the inventory, processing and storing it, orchestrating logistics, all of those types of things.
What would you say right now, the current supply chain ecosystem, the biggest challenges that this industry is facing, and how is Blue Yonder navigating through these complexities?
We're at an extraordinary moment in supply chains right now. For the last 20 or 30 years, it's been driven by globalization, using China as the factory for the world, things like just in time. And really, the pandemic sort of exposed that the emperor has no clothes. And we're seeing a complete shift on both the supply and the demand side, which is creating an enormous amount of uncertainty that basically retailers and other companies are really struggling to manage.
You've previously talked about an autonomous supply chain. Talk to me more about this concept and how you think it could revolutionize the supply chain sector.
Yeah, I mean, supply chains, the most important attribute is probably speed. Speed to know when something is a risk or an opportunity across your entire value chain, speed to understand what your options are, powered by AI, and then speed to actually decide and execute. And at the core of that is basically data and AI to help power all of that.
It wouldn't be a conversation if we didn't talk about AI and Gen AI and how more and more businesses are integrating this technology into their business strategy. Can you talk to me about Blue Yonder's stance when it comes to the implementation of this advanced tech?
We've been an authentic AI company now for over a decade. AI isn't just about large language models and ChatGPT and Gen AI. The predecessor to this was basically deep learning and machine learning, which has been applied at scale to problems in supply chain around predicting demand or optimizing inventory or orchestrating, fleets of trucks across the country. And we do 20 billion machine learning predictions a day in the data cloud.
Talk to me about the new product launches that Blue Yonder just announced and how it's going to impact the broader ecosystem.
It was really our product release was the culmination of really 2 years of work and over $500 million in R&D. It's arguably the largest supply chain software release in the history of the industry. And at its core was a cognitive engine powered by AI to reimagine what's possible in the supply chain, all built on the data cloud from Snowflake.
What do you think your biggest priorities are going to be for the rest of 2025?
I mean, we're always focused on customer outcomes. We have a phrase, which is our company is powered by customer happiness and enabled by trust. And trust comes from aligned to what the customer is trying to accomplish and people that have deep domain knowledge and products that deliver differentiated value. So that's always our priority.
What's next?
What's next is, we're in a super interesting world as it relates to artificial intelligence and the pace at which that technology is moving. And we're also in a super cycle around robotics. And the combination of those two things will basically deliver an autonomous supply chain.
But how are you going to continue to remain innovative, ahead of the curve, and continue to scale up?
Innovation is something that is part of our core DNA. Last year, we actually had 44 patents actually issued. It's one thing to file them, it's another to get them issued. And a lot of those were around AI and generative AI and how it reimagines supply chain. So it's something we work very hard at and asking our employees to constantly challenge conventional thinking, particularly through an AI-first lens.
Blue Yonder also works with several NYSE-listed companies, including Accenture and Snowflake. But make sure to catch all the latest Taking Stock episodes. Just download the NYSE TV app or watch on NYSE's YouTube page. Now, I do want to bring my colleague Kristen Scholler back in. Kristen, what's going on your side?
At Trinity, that's right. We see stocks with fractional gains here at the open. I know you got to make your way down to the floor for a special guest. And as Trinity does that, we do want to take a look at another Taking Stock. Trinity recently sat down with Quicken's CEO, Eric Dunn. Timely conversation, especially around tax season. Let's take a look at that interview.
Literacy, it's hugely important for any business to achieve success and long-term stability, right? So talk to me more about how your platform helps the everyday consumer achieve financial success.
Good. So financial literacy is important to businesses, it's important to consumers. We serve both of them with our Quicken products. And basically, we help people make sense out of complicated financial information. And that's our target is people who are dealing with a little little bit of a financial literacy problem where there's too much information coming in and it's not organized, and we sort it out and make sense of it. So that's what we do as a company.
And there's a lot of different factors right now that are impacting people's money and businesses' financials, right? I mean, we're seeing geopolitical turmoil unfolding overseas. We're in an election cycle, interest rates with the Fed, just so many things that can impact someone's bottom line. So talk to me about how your platform, how it helps consumers and businesses navigate through these sort of complexities.
Yeah, well, one of the trends that's affected many of our customers is rising interest rates. And maybe they're going back down again now, but for many of them, it still feels like if they have a variable rate mortgage, it's higher. If they have a variable rate business loan, it's more expensive. And if they have credit card debt, that's more expensive. So literally kind of managing, cash flow from, week to week and month to month is something that requires attention when interest payments have increased. And so we have tools in the product to help people see that, forecast their cash balance, and make decisions about which debt to pay down first based on the knowledge of the interest rate and the terms of the loans.
Can you talk more about those specific tools that you offer?
Right. Well, the broad tool is pulling all the information together from banks, credit cards, brokerage, get your credit score and so on, and organize it in one place. The specific tools for debt reduction in our Quick and Classic product, for example, either in many cases are able to get the interest rate from the financial institution as part of what we call aggregation or download, or in other cases the user has to provide that. But they're calculators, not incredibly complicated, but still that do the math of figuring out, if I have a term loan, if I have 2 credit cards, if I have minimum payments of X, minimum payments of Y, which one, and a mortgage, should I pay down my mortgage early, and just make sense of it. So that's how we help customers deal with debt and come up with optimum repayment strategies.
Why was it important that Quicken engage with the broader fintech community and attend this event, Money 2020 this year?
So long ago, Quicken was an island. It was a piece of isolated software that lived on a personal computer in the way back times. Quicken has actually been on the market since 1984, I'd have to tell you. But in today's world, financial software is about connecting. We reach out in the digital financial world. We have 11,000 financial institutions, over 10,000 billers. We get currency exchange rates, stock quotes, crypto prices, whatever. We bring that all together in one place and organize it. So we are implicitly a highly connected company. And some of the meetings I've been having are with our partners who help maintain those critical connections so the data flows as smoothly as possible to our customers.
And you recently did a survey on side hustles in the US. Yeah, so talk to me about this study and what were your key findings from it?
Side hustles are interesting because it really captures what we do, which is at the intersection of consumers having their financial life and then their personas as business people. We define a side hustle as somebody who has a day job, a W-2 job, but also makes money doing something else. Maybe they're selling on Etsy, maybe they're providing consulting services on the side. Maybe my favorite one, they're a cabinet maker. But what we found to our surprise, and to my surprise when we interviewed 1,200 households, is that for many of them, it's not keeping the wolf from the door. I envision people taking an overnight job in a factory or something just to keep food on the table for their family. But in many cases it has a much more positive spin. These people are getting extra money, sure, so they're paying down their mortgage quicker or they're saving for retirement, but it's something they like to do. The cabinet maker,
oh, that's amazing.
She enjoys that. So for many of these people, it's really a positive in their life because they're learning something, they're doing something they value, and it's a source of 20 or 30% of their income in many cases. The one thing they don't like is it's complicated to keep track of, because if you just have a salary, it's easy to know where the money is. If you have one of these jobs, typically the money comes in erratically and you have to collect from customers. And of course, that's where we can help them a lot with our Quicken products.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Okay, all right, thanks.
All right, everyone, will stay with us because up next we will go down to the trading floor where my colleague Trinity Chavez is going to be joined by today's bell ringer, the CEO and president of Venu, as well as that very special musical guest. We'll have more on the other side of this short break.
So you work with many organizations undergoing digital transformation. What role does observability play, and where does Dynatrace fit in?
When you're going through a digital transformation, most likely you're going to change a lot of your digital estates. You're building new applications, you're connecting maybe a new mobile app or a new service to your backend systems, connected to AI systems. So the first thing you need to do, where observability helps you, is really understand your entire IT estate. What are you running? Which components or which applications are talking to others? What's working, what's not working? Because you're obviously going through this change, you're going to iterate over this environment and keep evolving it. That's one role that observability is playing. And once those services are then live and users are using it, observability helps you to optimize the user experience. I think just 2 days ago, when it was the British Airways outage, how do you feel at an airport if the service is not great? So observability does both. It actually helps you to understand how your system is working and how the individual pieces play together. And it also helps you to understand how users feel about your service, whether it's working for them. And then finally, if something goes wrong, and every now and then obviously something does actually go wrong, it helps you to find the issue quite quickly and helps you to also to resolve the root cause, or what the actual problem might be. Because as you can imagine, in complex landscapes, there's thousands, even millions of components, and observability and Dynatrace also helps you to pinpoint exactly where the problem is.
Now, Dynatrace has been working with AI for more than a decade. As the discussion regarding the cost of generative AI investments and ROI heats up, tell me, how is Dynatrace helping organizations to get the most value out of AI?
So we have a dedicated solution that we call AI observability. So we just talked about observability. Now we're extending it just to the realm of AI, so helping understand how much.
Hey there, I'm Trinity Chavez, live on the trading floor with this amazing crowd behind me. They are all here with Venu, and this is a company that's revolutionizing the live entertainment industry with major investments in underserved markets and a unique approach to redefining the fan experience. To talk more about this, I'm joined now by J.W. Roth. He is the founder and chairman and CEO of Venu Holding Corporation. It's great to have you this morning.
It's great to be here. Thanks a million.
I mean, you're fresh off of the Bell podium. You just opened up the U.S. equity markets. How are you feeling?
It's incredible. It's incredible. You know, it's a dream of every business guy, right? It's the son of the Super Bowl of business to be on the New York Stock Exchange.
And you know, you're here celebrating this huge milestone. We were talking about expansion plans, all of the amazing plans that you have upcoming in 2025. Talk to me and our viewers more about Venu and what you're focusing on this year.
We build luxury, premium, outdoor venues in the music space. This last year, we opened the most luxurious amphitheater ever built in history in Colorado. Now we're building in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. We're going to be the largest, most premium venue ever built in Dallas-Fort Worth market, but we're in Tulsa market, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma City, El Paso, Texas. We're excited to be doing what we're doing. We're going to shake up the venue space in America.
Amazing. That sounds so exciting. But talk to me about how you're really remaking and reshaping the whole live experience for your customers, and what makes your venue so unique and so luxurious.
So think about this. There's never been a time in history where fan demand is higher than it is right now. Yeah. But the fan has gotten kind of picky on what the fan wants. And so what we're delivering is an experience and an ambiance that has never been done before. At the same time, with the fan experience and with the fan demand, there's never been a time in history where the artist supply has been higher. So where's the exchange? We're here at the stock exchange where supply and demand meets. In my world, supply is the artist, demand is the fan, and venues is the exchange.
And you have some of the leading artists who are performing in your venues, including Haley Reinhart, who is here with you today.
Platinum recording artist Haley Reinhart right there. Doesn't get any better than that.
Amazing. So how are you going to continue to remain innovative and ahead of the curve with all of these venues around the country?
Yeah, so you stay out in front of the AV pieces, you stay out in front of elevated food and beverage, you stay out in front of all of the things that the fans demanding, from ride share and so on and so forth.
Amazing, JW. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to be here. Awesome, man. The stock that rocks, baby.
And the stock that... I love that.
Yeah.
This is just a little glimpse of all the excitement that's unraveling here on the trading floor, but I will let you continue the celebration and festivities that you have planned today with you and your team.
Thank you. Thank you. We're excited to have Haley here. She's going to come up and we're going to have a little party.
I'm going to speak with her in just a moment. I'm excited. All right, bye, JW.
That's awesome. Thank you for having us.
Now we're going to take a few live looks of the floor. We'll be right back. We are joined now by the incredibly talented Haley Reinhart, singer, songwriter, and actress, known for her unique sound and captivating performances. Haley, it's great to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
So talk to me about why it was important for you to be here with Venu, with JW, and their whole team.
As an artist, it means so much to me to see a team that is so passionate about what they're doing. It's awesome to know that they want to create not only like a safe, beautiful space, but something that really ties in the audience and the artists so that we can just have this mutual, beautiful exchange of energy and create a really beautiful time, a beautiful show.
And speaking of a beautiful time and beautiful show, you have such a unique sound. Talk to me about your experience, what it's been like performing in these venues around the country.
It's been an amazing experience. You can really feel the difference when you're performing at one of their venues, and it's just, I'm really looking forward to doing much more, and including today. I'm happy to meet the team finally. This is going to be a really special time today.
And I love how passionate you are, even just talking about your experiences performing in these various venues and working with this team. But talk to me about what influences your songwriting and where you get the innovation behind your success.
Thanks. I'm from Chicago, so not too far away, and my family are all musicians, so they're in a band together, and I grew up singing since I was about 6, and now it's cool to flash forward after American Idol and other groups and to go double platinum. It's been a really fun experience to see the fruits of my labor pay off, and I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, what I love.
And you have such a diverse career too, singer, songwriter, actress. Do you prefer one over the other?
Singing and performing will be my #1 forever, but acting is a totally different game, and it's fun to play a role. But I think what's so unique and special about being a music artist is that you get to be yourself and be a very authentic, part of who you are.
And speaking about being authentic, talk to me about what you look forward to most when you're performing. How do you really engage your audience?
I think every room is a unique time to really look into their eyes and connect. So I did over 100 shows last year, and I'm grateful for that experience. I don't take it for granted, and I try to stay very present every time I hit the stage and have the honor of being with an amazing audience.
But how do you go about preparing for these massive live performances? I mean, especially when you're on tour, traveling different time zones and changes, how do you prepare for this?
It can definitely be a lot, especially the travel that's, part of it, like you said, but I do remind myself how lucky I am to do what I'm passionate about, as I'm sure this team and people can also, agree with. It's good to do what you're born to do.
And you've dabbled in various projects and genres across your career. Talk to me about probably your most memorable moment.
Most memorable? I just have flashes of different things. I do voiceover work with a show on Netflix called F is for Family. There's been so many unique kind of things that I've done. So
Haley, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we have to get going. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Take care. All right. Well, thank you so much. Kristen, I do want to bring you back in as we... Oh, actually, that does it for today's show. Thank you for watching. I'm Trinity Chavez. We'll see you next time.
for being innovators in the market. Thank you for all you do every day to show the world what best in class truly means.
We are incredibly proud to join the ranks of other highly successful companies who partnered with this legendary institution.
What a time to be here. I am so proud of what we're doing.
This is a huge milestone for our business. There's a lot of people responsible for getting to where we are today.
We have a role to play in bridging the gaps that exist today between us.
Not many people get to do something big in this world, and we get to do something truly special.
This is such a wonderful place to both look back and look forward. I'm so optimistic about what lies ahead. It has been a privilege to be with you.